membranes, which is still under the connective tissue portion because it is made of both epithelium, which we have learned about, and connective tissue, which we have learned about. So let's take a look at covering and lining membranes. There are three types of membranes. We have cutaneous, mucus, and serous. This one should seem familiar since we did this pretty much last chapter. All of these membranes are made out of multicellular sheets made up of at least two tissue types, although they can include more than that. But they need to at least have epithelium, and they at least need to have connective tissue proper. And the connective tissue could be any of the multitudes that we just talked about previously. All right, let's take a look at cutaneous membranes. Cutaneous is just skin. That's it. Nothing else. Easy to remember. Skin. Skin is made out of keratinized, and we talked about this already, stratified squamous epithelium. So we're talking little plates that all just kind of lay flat on top of each other. The keratin is what makes it super strong and tough and waterproof. And then down at the bottom, it's attached to a layer of dense, irregular connective tissue, which we usually refer to as the dermis. So as you can see from this picture, we have this top layer, which is the layer that's dead and constantly is falling off of you. We have this part of the epidermis, which is constantly going through mitosis to replace spore cells. And then here's the connective tissue down below. This is the dermis, where these guys are glued onto. The mucous membrane, or mucosae, these guys, they line the body cavities that open to the exterior. So anything you can poke a finger into, so your nasal cavity, your mouth, all the way down to your esophagus, your trachea, your lungs, your small intestine, your large intestine, your stomach, and other holes down there, those would all be considered mucous membranes. They're usually wet. Some are a little drier than others, so if you stuck a finger up in your nose, it might be a little dry. They're made out of stratified squamous, so that would be your tiled roof, and simple columnar epithelium, and so that would be these guys like this. They're covered, they cover a loose connective tissue layer called the lamina propria, and so it's just it's a layer of connective tissue that they're glued onto. Some of them secrete mucus, so like in the digestive and respiratory tracts, we have goblet cells that are in there, and they will secrete the mucus onto the surface of these cells, so that way you can trap all the bad guys and then hack them up later. Here's a picture showing where they're found. So these are all your mucous membranes, all these, even up inside the bladder and uterus and all that good stuff. Here's a picture of inside of your trachea, and you can see here's the lamina propria, which is just made up of connective tissue. Here is our layer of the mucous membrane, and this one I can't really see it, but there might be some goblet cells in there because the trachea is really good at covering it with a layer of mucus. And so what happens is that all the bad guys, germs and dust and stuff, get stuck on it, and there's little fingers that are constantly pushing up towards your mouth, and once you get it inside, well, then you eventually cough it up. Check a look right here. Hyaline cartilage, you can tell because sunny side up eggs. Alright, and then the last kind is called the serous membranes, or serosae, which you should be familiar with. These are found in closed hollow cavities, whereas the previous one is in open hollow cavities. So these are found in closed hollow cavities. They're always moist because they're inside of your body. They're made out of simple squamous epithelium, so these little guys, which we also refer to as mesothelium sometimes. And they're bound to loose connective tissue, specifically areolar tissue below it. It creates a serous fluid, which we know from last chapter, that helps to lubricate it from any other layer nearby. It could be either visceral or parietal if it touches the organ or if it lines the organ. And depending on where it is, the lungs, the heart, or the abdomen, then if you pair up the words correctly, that'll tell you exactly where the membrane can be found. So here's a picture showing the membranes. So right in here we can see parietal peritoneum. Okay, now I am going to make my pen a little bigger. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so right here, so that's parietal because it's on the outside. If it's lining or touching, then it's a visceral. Okay, and then we have this special little thing right here that isn't really lining the outside, nor is it touching the organ. That's called mesentery. Mesentery is a specialized membrane that holds the intestines together, and that's the only place you can find it. It's a thin membrane, and you can see there's blood vessels and fat attached. So when you eat your meals, all the nutrients will get sucked up and then delivered to the main circulatory system. And you can see all the little blood vessels on the side. No No, I don't know who this is from. Looks like it could be a cat, any small animal, could be human, don't know. But I thought you'd like to see it anyway. Alright, so that's it for membranes. Not a whole lot today. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.